In this episode, I'm with Brad Lee, the GOAT of closing deals.
And in the future, bro, I promise you there's going to be two kinds of companies left. Only two kinds of companies left in the future.
What's that?
Those that use technology or those that make it. The rest are going bye-bye. Training isn't something you did, it's something you do. You know, it's not something that you can finish doing. The number one reason people don't buy is the salesperson.
Okay.
And the number one reason they do buy is the salesperson. The job of a closer is when someone says no. Otherwise, you're just, there might be a lay down.
Right.
You're just taking an order. The number one mentor has been failure. So again, people don't want to fail, right? It's the best teacher there is.
Everyone wants to be great, but only few actually get there. And I'm on a mission to find out what all the greatest have in common. I've traveled tirelessly to find, sit down, and talk with GOATs, people that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. Sales, marketing, advertising, business, podcasts, branding, you name it. The way they do things may be different, but they all seem to see the world the same way. To them, success is not only achievable, but inevitable. And we'll get inside their heads as they share their expertise with me each week. My name's Mike Arce, and this is The GOAT Show. This episode is sponsored by Loud Rumor. If you own a fitness studio, cryotherapy, or massage business, there is no company in the industry better at generating high-quality leads than Loud Rumor. In just the last 2 years, Loud Rumor has worked with nearly 1,000 fitness and wellness companies and won ranking Arizona's Ad Agency of the Year in 2017. Getting more paying members in the door can be tough. Let Loud Rumor do the heavy lifting and get new people in your doors every day. Go to loudrumor.com and learn more. Also sponsored by Agency GSD. Starting a digital agency was definitely one of the best decisions I've ever made. Building it, however, was a lot more challenging than I expected. I always wish someone just gave me a roadmap that I could follow and just let me be a fly on the wall at the successful agencies out there so I could really see how it's done. Agency GSD allows you to do just that. Stop playing small and visit agencygsd.com to learn how to help hundreds of clients get it to 7 figures and be extremely profitable along the way. Again, go to agencygsd.com. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Arce. Welcome back to another episode of The GOAT Show, where we interview people that are arguably the greatest of all time at what they do. And today I am here with Mr. Brad Lee, the GOAT of closing deals. Brad, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me.
Oh man, thanks for being here. And so you've closed me. So we'll start off by saying you closed me.
Yes, I did.
You didn't open the sale, you didn't run the sale, you didn't demo the sale, you closed the sale that I needed to think about.
Yeah.
Right? I also saw you close Ed Milet. In fact, a lot of people have. It's a pretty popular video on YouTube.
Yeah.
Okay? Ed Milet's a friend of mine. And you closed Grant Cardone.
Yes, I did.
So you've closed a lot of people.
Yeah,
And there's probably more names on that list, aren't there?
Well, I'm the guy that closes the guy that teach you to close. So like I'm the closer's
The guy behind the guy
closer.
behind the guy.
That's right.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. In this particular talk,
Yeah.
I'm going to be asking you a ton of questions on what closing the deal really means.
Okay.
Stuff leading up to it, how you know that this is when it's your turn to come in and when it's not, and then all the things that you have to do along the way to make sure that deal goes from I need to think about it, or I don't know, or I'm not sure, to how do I sign and I got to get you more business on top of that.
Yeah.
Because that's, I think, what happened to me. I think not only did I buy it, but I'm like, I got some other people I want to introduce you to.
Well, sure. That's when you have a good product and you close the deal right.
Okay. Is that all good with you?
Sure. Whatever you
All
want.
right. So let's start with, what is the difference between sales and closing to you?
Well, I mean, a lot of them combine, but if you're being cliche a little bit, salespeople sometimes are order takers and they just get sales, or they show you the product and the person wants it, so they buy it. Mm-hmm. And I think the difference is a closer has to activate when someone says no. So like the job of a closer is when someone says no. Otherwise, you're just, there might be a lay down.
Right.
You're just taking an order.
Are there any no's, any type of no's that can get in the way of a closer doing his job? Like, is there any reason
Well, it depends on the situation. I'm sure there are factual reasons, but your job is to be so good at getting past no's and solving problems that you get more yeses than you do no's.
Okay. So I need to think about it, which is a close that I think a lot of people that's a brick wall for them.
Yeah.
So number one, is there training that a salesperson can do ahead of time to remove the likelihood of I need to think about it to even come up in the first place?
Absolutely.
Okay, so I want to talk about that. And then I want to talk about, okay, let's say he didn't get that along the way. Now the closer's got it. You have a way to overcome that as well.
Well, you can be a salesperson that knows how to close,
right,
and get a no and just continue. A closer's not always somebody that comes in.
Right. Sometimes you're the guy that does both of them, but sometimes we need to bring in a closer.
Yeah, I mean, I closed and sold deals. I started and finished. Tony Robbins, I had to chase for 4 years, and I said, get me in the room with him and I'll close him.
Right.
So I started and finished the deal. But if I weren't able to close him, it would have just been a presentation.
What was the thing that was in Tony's way of saying yes to you or your team in the beginning? Like, what was his objection?
Tony, he's no different than you see on stage. Mm-hmm. He's intense. He works till midnight all the time. So he's very busy. And not only that, I mean, the higher up you get, the more promises you get, and everyone and their dog can change your life, and they've got the product that'll solve all your problems. So when you get barraged with all of those so many times, your guard goes up.
Okay.
So, I don't know what his problem was, but he kept saying no. So at the end of the day, I know that, he wants to help people,
right,
and that's true to him. So I just used it against him to get him to say yes. So as I was leaving, because he was saying no and he had to go, and he's got assistants everywhere, and I said, let me ask you a question. How many people were at your last event? And he was very prideful about 10,000. And I said, well, what about the other 7 billion people that weren't there? Why are you being selfish? Is 10,000 enough? Or I thought you wanted to help more. And then he basically gave me the real objection after that, which was the rev share. He didn't want to give me a piece for my niece, a little slice to be nice, a fraction of the action. He didn't want a rev share. So I had to close him.
Do you remember what you did?
To close him?
Yeah.
Well, I used, you need to help more people. And then he said, okay, well, I don't want to, give you a fraction of the action. So I said, listen, I have a 100% program. And he said, what is that? And I said, you get 100% of the money and I don't get it. I don't get any. You just agree to charge your customer 120%, and then I'll let them pay me.
Well, what did he say?
He beat me up to 15 and I shook his hand.
You got him.
Yeah. Well, I had to cut the revenue share down, but when someone's going to make you millions of dollars.
Right. So now, to him, what was the problem that he believes you're solving that other tools or systems that claim to do the same thing? Like, what is it about yours that he finally said, okay, that's going to be the answer? It's worth the rev share.
Well, until you see our technology, you fully don't understand it. The interactivity and the user interface and the technology is built on one thing: effectively training people. Most people think you can put a video on online, sell it, and that's training. Mm-hmm. Well, watching a video is not training, right? I mean, I watch mixed martial arts, doesn't make me a black belt.
Some people think they're black belts after watching UFC a few times.
Go get in the ring and see what happens.
Yeah.
So you're not a black belt because you watch mixed martial arts. And I watch all the fights.
Right.
That's not training.
Right.
When you go in the military, that's training. The top athletes, that's training. Training isn't something you did, it's something you do. It's not something that you can finish doing. Mm-hmm. So most people think they're training when they're actually not. Mm-hmm. Our technology was based on that. And so if you create content in our system, the system becomes a training technology that gets it to where it's actually retained and used. And most of those other ones, I haven't found any that they're actual training, but ours is a training technology, and those are video hosting solutions.
Right. Like, so now everyone that's hearing this is going, okay, I get that we don't do any training. So now they want to start doing training because of what you just said, because it does make sense, right?
Yep.
It's what athletes are doing. Musicians play every day.
Yeah, it's the single best investment a company can make.
Right, it's the training.
Training.
So what is an adequate amount of training to meet at least as a base level? Say, this is what your team should be doing at least this often.
Every single day.
And how long every day?
Depends on how good do you want them. Do you want them okay, or do you want them top notch?
So we do about an hour to an hour and a half a day. Is
Yeah,
that,
that sounds
is that adequate?
sufficient.
And
Sure.
about 6.5 to 7 hours.
Depends
working.
on what you're doing, though.
Well, we're selling, mainly we have two different things that we're selling.
What if you had some sort of disease like gonorrhoeasyphilis,
Oof, that sounds bad.
and the doctor has the medicine, and he gives it to you, gives you the prescription, and you go home, and when you go to take it, you just throw it over your shoulder because you don't know any better.
Right.
If I went into you and 3 months later, you would say I'm taking the medicine because you truly believe you were, but you weren't taking it right, and it wouldn't work. And then when someone came up and asked, how's that medicine work? What would you say? You'd say it doesn't work.
It's not working.
Yeah, didn't work. And it's not
Didn't
the
work for
medicine
me.
that didn't work, it was your application. So I'd have to kind of review what you're doing in that hour a day, because you could be wasting an hour a day not training, thinking you are, but sounds like you are.
Yeah. So tell me, what's perfect training? Me and imagine you walked into my room and you watched us for an hour and a half doing the training.
Yeah.
You walk out an hour and a half later, what would we have done? What's our activity look like for you to say, that was good?
Well, it's not usually the activity, it tends to be the result. Like,
Okay.
are they closing top?
Are they closing better now?
Are whatever you're teaching them, are they actually increasing and improving? Because that's how you tell if your training's effective.
Got it. Okay.
If you're teaching them every day and they're not getting any better, is it working?
Yeah. So since we started, we went from, we missed goal 3 months in a row, and I hate that. And then we started it, and we hit goal 3 months in a row, like exceeded goal
See?
3 months in a row.
And don't get me wrong, you can ineffectively train and still get results, but to effectively train people, it requires 4 ingredients. You see, here's how I started Lightspeed. See, I was running a car dealership, and I got pretty good at sales all throughout my life, but at this particular place in my life, I was running a car dealership, and I started to train salespeople and sales managers to just be really kick-ass. And I got so good at it, I thought, man, I should start a training company, because this company was only paying me 1 check, and I was like interested in more. So if I could go train 10 companies, teams, I could get 10 checks. So I decided to quit my job. I was probably making $300,000-400,000 grand a year, and just go out and start a training company so I could get multiple people to pay me $10,000 a day, and I'd go in and train their people. So I went out to do that, and I very quickly realized that the training wasn't working. Like I couldn't accomplish what I was doing back there. So I have kind of a moral dilemma here. I can keep charging people $10,000 knowing full well I wasn't actually training their people,
Right.
or quit, or fix it. So I did a little research, and I came up with 4 key ingredients to training. And you have to have each ingredient, or it's not necessarily as effective as it could be. Again, you can do it many ways, but these 4 ingredients have to be involved.
Okay.
The
What are they?
Well, the first one's good content, right?
Okay.
Because if you effectively train someone to do it wrong, they're going to do it wrong.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
So you have to have good content. That's the right information. Then you have to have repetition.
Okay.
See, most people miss repetition. That's why school's 12 years and not 12 days. That's why you said your ABCs 1,000 times. Now, who do you think learns easier, children or adults?
Children.
Okay, so if you, as a child, where your mind is open as it's ever gonna be, takes that much repetition to learn, why do you think we need less of it when we get older?
Right.
Common sense says we probably need more of it as we get older.
Right.
But we stop doing it because we start making our own decisions.
Right.
So repetition is required. Most people don't do that. Most companies sit down, let you hear somebody, let you watch a video, they check you off as trained, and out you go to destroy their business and your career. Right. So repetition. The third one is practice and role play. Like, just because you can pass the test doesn't mean you can perform the job. Not only that, the confidence that you present yourself with usually comes through competence. Competence comes with experience. So how do you normally get experience? Companies will say you're trained, then you go practice on the customers, and you get blown out because you suck or you're not doing it right, and then they wonder what's the problem. The problem is they didn't practice and role play with you so you could get your competence up and your confidence up, which makes it even more effective when you actually perform the job or whatever.
Right.
And then the last one's accountability. Nobody holds anybody accountable. If I tell you, here's how I want you to do this, and then I go that way, and you don't do it 4 or 5 times, and then I catch you doing it, the 6th time and I tell you something, you didn't get held accountable, right? Or you lightly got held accountable.
Right, right.
If I tell you to do it this way and I'm the expert, do it that way. And I got to hold you accountable, and you got to hold yourself accountable. So accountability goes beyond, because people aren't accountable to themselves. They're not accountable to you as the student or who I'm teaching. I trust that you understood. You understand?
Yeah.
See, I got to trust that you understand. I didn't test you. I didn't let you practice. I didn't say repeat this. So I just have to believe that you understand. And that's what happens in most businesses. You get a group of people, they're all nodding their head. They all believe everything you heard. They're writing notes like crazy, and you get it? And they're all like, yeah. And then people say, all right, go take a customer. Well, why would you want to practice on real customers?
Right.
Why wouldn't you let them practice and role play on virtual customers? Situations that you know they're going to experience.
Right.
Objections. How do you get past them? What are the rebuttals? Are you confident in that rebuttal? Do you know what the rebuttal actually means?
Right.
Do you know why you're saying it? What if they throw you a curveball? Can you come back around in a completely different way because you fully understand the material and the technique and the skill and the product and the benefits and the features and the advantages? Or are you just memorizing shit you heard in a training session, which isn't a training session? Most people have exposure sessions or information programs, but they believe they're training programs, and that's the problem. That's like, you believed you took the medicine, but you didn't.
Right. And the thing is, you haven't really built muscle memory around that thing you just learned. So it's like if I told you a joke right now, and let's say it's a joke, it takes about 30, 40 seconds to tell, then you go down the hall and somebody starts telling you a joke, or have you heard the joke before? You'd be like, oh yeah, I know that joke, Oh, tell him. You couldn't repeat it. The same delivery wouldn't be there because you understood it, you understand the concept of the joke, you know the joke, but if you go to repeat that joke, you're all over the place. The joke takes 3 times longer for you to say it, you're missing parts, you have to go back. And what I've noticed with our salespeople, the same thing, is if they haven't practiced that move, or if they haven't practiced that rebuttal often enough or at all, they get there, they know what they should say, but then they get lost and they just go back to what's comfortable, their own instinct, and then they drop it.
Yeah, or a lack of confidence because you didn't practice and get the confidence up through experience and practice. So those 4 ingredients: good content, repetition, practice, and accountability. If you don't have one of those, it's not necessarily training effectively. You can call it training, but it's not. So most companies, believe it or not, most companies think they have a training program, but they don't. They're sitting someone down and saying, hey, tell her what to do today. And then you regurgitate what you think it is. And then the next person that comes along, can you do it again? You say, yeah, I guarantee you weren't consistent. You didn't tell her and her the exact same thing, because I've done this. I know this. I had to learn the hard way. So back then, there was no way I could do this out on the road, because when someone hired me, I was only there for a day, then I had to leave. I couldn't hold them accountable. I couldn't stay there and see what they were doing. Half the time, they didn't even have management in the room to hear what I was teaching, so management couldn't hold them accountable. That's another mistake people make. They train the salespeople, and then the managers, they're too cool for that training because they're managers.
Right.
Well, dude, your managers need to know that shit better than the salespeople so they can hold them accountable and coach them. So I was leaving there. It wasn't possible, so I looked around online. This was 20 years ago, mind you. I mean, it was damn near no internet at the time at all. And so I couldn't find anything that would help me, so I just built it. And now here I am 20 years later. You know, we've got the most advanced training technology on the planet, designed to actually get results and train people, engage people, adapt the content to the individual rather than make the individual adapt to the content, which is most people's problem. You get a one-size-fits-all video, you're not gathering data, the content's not adapting, you're just running your pie hole.
Right.
And then you expect them to go do something special with your wonderful knowledge.
You got to make it about the customer and like, what are you actually selling?
You have to really again, I used to be all about me. When I started training people and I started seeing people at the dealership make more money and have better Christmases, because you know some salespeople make shit. I'm making all this money, so I started helping people make money, and I was teaching them, and I got really good when I was at the company. But I was there every day. I was doing it manually, which took 60 to 80 hours a week. I'm not saying you can't do it without my system. You can do it manually, but then you're a full-time person, and you can't be consistent, and you're just less effective. So I built a technology to take the weight off. And in the future, bro, I promise you there's going to be two kinds of companies left. Only two kinds of companies left in the future.
What's that?
Those that use technology or those that make it. The rest are going bye-bye. You don't believe me? Go ask Blockbuster. So anyway, I'm doing this, I'm helping people, but until I started like really trying to help other people, I was all about me. And I could never crack a ceiling. And I was spending money as fast as I got it, right? So it's like I didn't have any savings or anything. So making good money, 300-400 grand, but blowing it, gambling. I lived here in Vegas.
So it's easy to lose 300.
Dude, I was broke at $350,000 a year. I mean, dude, I was just broke like these guys. I just had more money to start with every 2 weeks. Anyway, so I just decided, you know what, let me help this person because I saw things change with people and marriages get better and kids get better and happier. And, you know, so I started saying, man, let me help you. And I really started helping people, which gave me the idea to go out and start the training company because I wanted to help people, which caused the dilemma because I wasn't helping anybody, but it wasn't about the money, it was about the help. So if you want to help people, which is what you should do, because that's when success started chasing me. That's when I started, you know, getting the big deals. I'm like, holy crap. Like I looked around and I'm like, son of a bitch, like money's easy. Because I wasn't focused on the money. Most people are focused on the money. Most courses on the internet right now, they don't give a rat's ass if you learn it or not.
They just want to make sure they get their money in.
Dude, they just want the money, man.
They're selling the dream, but they don't actually need to get you there.
Exactly. Now again, a lot of people that are doing it that don't realize this, if they're watching this, now if they don't jump off theirs and get on ours, well then, you know.
Now it's a moral issue.
That's like, you know, some Bible person coming to your house and the way they say is like, if they tell you, you know, about the Lord and you don't accept them, well then you're going to hell. Well, that's kind of true in this case.
All right, so I want to go back to sales. I was always taught to believe that there's only two reasons people don't buy. They're not the decision maker or they're not certain it's going to work. Do you believe that? Is there anything you add or take away from that?
Well, the number one reason people don't buy is the salesperson.
Okay.
And the number one reason they do buy is the salesperson.
Okay. Is that important?
But those two reasons, you know, again, every reason is different. I mean, if somebody tells you that they can close anybody at any time, they're just full of shit.
Why is that?
I'm probably the best on the planet. I'll go up against anybody.
You think so?
Anybody.
So
anybody.
So I invite
Grant Cardone. Let's get Grant on a car lot and me on a car lot, and I will kick his ass.
I'm going to find a way to get
I've closed deals for
guys.
Grant. Now, it's not that makes Grant bad, but this is the GOAT show, right? Greatest of all time.
Right.
It's not Grant.
No,
it's me.
He'll
tell you. You want me to call him?
I'm gonna.
He might argue a little bit, but you know what? He will not say no. You're not. You know why? Because he writes me a check every month.
He does.
So who closed? He didn't close me. I closed him.
And
he hasn't closed me yet. Where are you? Come close me.
If there's 20% or a percentage of the money I give him goes to you.
Piece for my niece, bro. I love her.
Can we call him?
I need a little fraction of the action.
I want to see you call him, and I want to tell him right now.
Then it's going to turn into the Grant Cardone show.
No, I'm going to tell him.
I'll call him at the end. So if I want to leave,
okay, got it.
Chatting.
That's right, because he won't stop.
Well,
he won't stop.
I just, you know, I can call him, yes, but I'm trying to get him Triple G tickets, and that's all he's going to be talking about.
Yeah, no.
And not only that, it'll turn into a whole nother conversation. Like, do you want to bring value or debate?
We'll see if we get a debate in a minute.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you think makes you better than Grant Cardone? What's the thing you see him doing that makes him one notch below you?
Well, you know us both. Who do you think's better?
Both of you closed me.
Okay, well, who do you think's better?
Well, you're the one that actually closed me. His sales guy closed me. So is it that he's a better sales trader?
No, he's a better marketer.
He's a better marketer?
Yeah.
Okay. If I had to say if I had to pick a guy.
You already know.
If I had to pick a guy.
I don't know what, you scared
if I
of
had
Grant?
to pick a guy.
He
No.
already.
I'm thinking about this. If I had to pick a guy to sell my product for me, and I had to choose between you or Grant, and I couldn't pick anybody else, who's one of you two guys, I think I'd have to depend on what my sales are like. If I'm selling most of my stuff online, on the internet, on a stage, I might do Grant.
That's marketing. It's not sales.
Right. And if I'm doing one-on-one, like I want to put Tony Robbins in a room, I feel way more confident with you in there.
All right. Fair enough.
But
one's marketing and one's sales.
Yeah.
Marketing gets the phone to ring. Sales is who picks it up.
Okay.
You can have the best marketing on earth and not make a dime.
Okay. Grant, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to give the one-on-one to him, but I'll still keep paying for your training.
That's right.
All right. So now, with your sales team, how many salespeople you got on your team doing sales for you?
Well, coincidentally, I just hired an additional 10 because I'm about to start marketing. I've never really marketed. My company's built on referrals and word of mouth.
I've noticed a lot over the last year is when you really
Yeah,
started.
because when you release your system, 10 people are going to go, holy shit, this is the coolest thing ever. And then you're going to say, yeah. And if you don't, it doesn't matter because it says powered by Lightspeed at the bottom anyway.
Right. Well, I bought it because of Cardone. I'm in his training. He uses your stuff.
Now he's going to call me. If he watches this, he's going to call me and
He's
say,
gonna
where's
want
my
a
piece?
commission.
Yeah, where's the piece for my niece? but word of mouth and referral. So I just hired 10 new salespeople. And here's another thing about training again. Like, I believed when I hired them 2 months ago. I'm knocking out 4,000 square feet downstairs. It overlooks the lake. There's pillars. I got it all badass. Sales floor. It's unbelievable. Like a little Starbucks wall in the back. It's going to be like the coolest sales floor, I think, probably in the United States. But I thought I'm going to put 50 people in there. Let me start with 10. I'll get them trained. And then when we get people in there, they can train them. So like a dumbass, I hire them thinking I'm going to do it myself, like I used to. Like, man, who's the best trainer in the world? That's me.
Right.
Well, time gets in your way. So I literally thought I'd spend 2 weeks, get them up to speed, and then plug them in, and then, you keep training. It's not something you stop doing. Right. So I plugged them in 2 months ago, and I've talked to them 3 times since for maybe a total of 3 hours.
It's time.
So what do you think happens?
Yeah.
Well, you talked to one.
Yeah.
And he couldn't get you to say
no,
yes.
he wasn't close to me.
Yeah, well, that's the result of most people's training. If I didn't call you back, you may never have came back. Right. Now, fortunately, our product's so good that people will go look around and find nothing even close, so they come back on their own. You shouldn't rely on that. You should just have highly skilled people to get the business when the opportunity's in front of you. Ask for referrals properly and, do the whole thing as best you can. But I have 10 new ones that are going to do one thing, and I've got about 6 what I call ICAs, which are like higher level account reps.
Okay. So when you're looking at a sales guy, because now you're seeing them come through, are you the decision maker whether or not this guy's getting a sales job at your company, or is there a guy below you that's making that decision?
There's a girl.
A girl below you. So she's the one that says, did you give her criteria, like they've got to have this, 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 this? If they've got this, bring them on board?
Yeah, but I like to empower people. If you don't have that ability, then I probably picked the wrong person. But
okay.
I can override it, sure.
Okay. So what's one thing where, let's say somebody got through her filter.
Yeah.
She did a great job interviewing, she did her stuff, but somehow he got in or she got in. You sit down with this person, you go, this person's not going to touch any prospect that comes through our doors. So,
well, you do say that in the beginning until they train properly. There are traits of people, natural traits that lend themselves better. I said at 10X, brush your teeth, and everyone's like thinking I was joking. I'm like, no, dude, brush your teeth. You know how many people come to me and they're like, hey, Brad, you got 5 minutes? And I'm like as down to earth as you get, sure. I don't think I'm anybody special. I'll listen to anybody. Right. And they walk up, and as soon as they open their mouth, their breath is so bad. Like, I can't think of anything you're even telling me. I just want to, find an exit and get the hell out of there. Have you ever done that?
Yeah, of course.
So brush your teeth. And now everybody's, sending me DMs and pictures of them brushing their teeth 5 times a day. Good.
Well, I think I even messaged you on Instagram, I think probably a month or 2 after that. And I said something about the brushing the teeth, or you had posted a video of you brushing your teeth, an Instagram story of you brushing your teeth. You said, just brush your teeth. And then I replied back, I go, that was my favorite part of your talk. And then you replied back, I can't tell you how many brush the teeth messages I've gotten in the last month.
Yeah, I should have got some Real Bradley or Lightspeed toothbrushes to bring in.
You should get a t-shirt.
Well, toothbrush, so you can give them out. You know why they call it a toothbrush?
Why?
Because it's from Alabama. Otherwise, they'd have called it a teeth brush. No, but yes, there are some natural, there's some natural gifts that you could, possess that make you, or that give you the advantage to sales. Mm-hmm. But no, you can learn sales. I've taken people that could barely speak English, because at this particular leadership, there was a guy named Willie. And I don't know if he was Spanish or what, but he couldn't speak much English, but he was a totally cool dude and hard working as hell, but he didn't have the right knowledge. See, this is why I'm passionate about getting the right knowledge to the people, because I believe we can live in a world where everybody's successful, where if I tell you I'm going to start a business, you don't doubt me instantly. If someone tells you they're going to start a business, don't you usually doubt them?
Yeah.
That's because we live in a world where success is the rarity. I want to flip that around. I want 99% to have all the money. How do you do that? In my opinion, you get the right knowledge to the people that need it. You get the knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. And my technology allows us to do that in scale, because even if I thought, man, you're a miracle worker and I paid to fly you all around this country, in 10 years you wouldn't talk to 1% of the population.
Right.
So I can't do it with you effectively. I have to leverage technology. So if you have knowledge and you're trying to help people, good for you. That's the ticket. But if you're doing it ineffectively, how's it working? Right. Or you're really not looking to help anyone. You're looking to help yourself, and you're selling a course and you're using something else that's really not effective. You know, there's a lot of people like that too.
So you said, so now...
I forgot your question originally.
No, that's exactly where we're going.
What was it?
That sparked something in me, because you talked about the knowledge, but then also making sure that they're doing the repetition along
Yeah,
that, right? The role play, that was a big part.
Sure.
Otherwise, the knowledge is worthless.
But it's the right knowledge.
The right knowledge with the right training and role playing. So now you said, not only are you the go of sales and closing,
sure.
For sure. It's not even, so it's
Well,
not, it's not arguing.
Who's out there in the world? Let's do a little contest.
Yeah.
I'll put up $100,000. Someone else put up $100,000. Show me the product. Let me train a little bit, and put me in front of customers, and let's see who does what.
Well, let's do this, because you're also the sales training go, you believe, as well.
Well, I started the company with my own training.
Right.
And what happened was, no one really knew who I was, but it was working well. I had the best technology, but people kept saying, you know, we use this person and we use that person.
Right.
And I believe if you compete, you're taking what exists from others. Mm-hmm. But if you create, you're adding. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You're increasing. So I'd rather collaborate than compete myself. So I thought, if they really want, let's say Grant or these other trainers that were in that space, I'm sure they're having the same problem I am. Right. And they were.
Right.
So I went and got them on my platform. And after I had all the top people on my platform, I kind of just pulled back my content and stopped trying to sell it, because I wanted to support them. How would you feel if you
started selling my stuff?
Or no, you sell your stuff and then I run right behind you and say, look at my stuff, it's better than him.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
Yeah, so it didn't work well, so I just
sense.
Kind of pulled back. But believe it or not, I'm creating right now all of the sales training that anyone would need to become a non-salesperson, introvert or extrovert.
I want to do this.
Skilled.
If you know how to develop skill, which is through repetition,
which I do.
I believe that I role play well, but I'm never going to say I'm doing it perfect, because every time I meet with another guy like you, I learn something I can add to it, and something I'm probably not doing as well.
Yeah. Are we going to role play?
I want you to role play. I want you to help, because I may be messing up, and this could be the most valuable thing. This could make my purchase with your company worth every penny. Just this alone, if you help me role play better, get my team up to speed. So I want to role play with you. I want to be the prospect. I've got an issue, and I'm not going to. I understand there's shitty role playing where I make it impossible. So I want to be the guy that I deal with. Really? Okay. So we're going to do that, and I want you to help me with really teaching my team how to. I want my team to watch this. So this is how we role play. It shouldn't take this long. This is what we should do. So setting it up. How do I, as a, I'm two people on my team right now. How do we start the role play? Do we start it from a particular point? Do we never really start from the top sometimes?
Depends on what you're trying to
We're overcoming
right,
the...
but you might want to practice a word track, or you might want to practice a rebuttal, or you might want to practice... It depends on what you're practicing.
I want to practice the decision maker. There's a decision maker, but there's also another one. He wants to do the meeting with me. He doesn't want to waste the other person's time, but at the end of the day, this person's involved in that decision as well. So I don't want to have this meeting without both of the guys in the room, but he's pretty reluctant around getting that guy in.
So what you want to practice is getting past an objection.
Exactly.
Right,
yes.
So then I would role play with just that piece.
Just that piece.
Yeah, because you can practice 1,000 things, and I would break them down. Like my team yesterday, there's a backstory to Lightspeed. I just was talking about that. Like, until you get that down, what are you trying to get this down for? Like, start here.
Right.
It's like people want to make $1 million. Start with $1,000.
Okay.
So in your case, if you want to practice this particular technique or area, then you just start there when you role play.
Start right there.
You can start anywhere you want.
Okay, so I'm the prospect. I sit down. I like your product. We've
What
had a
is
good
my
conversation so far. VT training.
Okay, good.
Lightspeed VT.
Beautiful.
Cool. All right. So now everything's great. I like the product so far.
Yeah.
From what I've seen, but keep in mind I haven't seen much of it because I haven't gone through the demo.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't really looked at it yet. And now I say, yeah, I'd like to do the demo. You've already asked me if there's another decision maker, and I say, yeah, but he's not going to be in the meeting. It's just going to be me. That's where we start.
How do we get that person involved?
Well, I want to kind of see it here. That's usually what I do, and then I'll go back and I'll tell them everything that we talked about.
Right. So let me ask you a question. Do I need both of you to make a decision?
No, I mean, I could take this info, and then once I tell him, I'll break it down to him because I know how to communicate to him.
Where is he?
He is at the office.
If I paid you $1,000, could you set me up a meeting directly with him?
Just him or me there as well?
You can be there.
So you pay me $1,000 and he's in the room?
Yeah, if I did that.
Yeah, I could do that.
Okay, when?
I call him right now.
Okay, so
That was good.
So well, let me ask you.
I didn't have shit. That was really quick.
Well, the reason why, and I didn't say I would give you 1,000. I said if I gave you 1,000, because you're never sure when they'll say yes. But that's a technique to close you, and I happen to be closing you to get me in front of the right person, because there's always a solution.
Okay.
And when you provide solutions instead of problems, you literally test on whether or not it's the truth. See, because like some people will say, hey, I got to go get my wife, when they're totally full of shit. They don't have to go get anybody. Right. You got bad breath, something's the problem. And most salespeople just believe it. So they'll say, oh, and they're trying to get past going to get the wife when it's not even real. And you can't get past an objection if it's fake.
Yeah, exactly.
So what you first have to do is isolate the real objection. If that was the real objection and my solution didn't work, well, then there might be another objection. So sometimes there's more than one and you only isolated one.
Yeah.
So the only thing you have to do to close any deal that's closable is isolate the objection, provide the solution that is logical, and you'll go right past it every time.
You know, with husband and wives too, I think a lot of people will make decisions without their spouse there and ask for forgiveness later.
Dude, if you saw a $100 bill blowing down the road, would you have to ask your wife to pick it up?
Okay, so let's do that one. I want to hear that. I got to talk with my wife. It all looks good, but I got to talk with my wife first.
Dude, that makes perfect sense. It's a big decision. But what if she says no? Are you going to do it anyway?
I mean, if she says no, that's good.
Well, let me ask
Dude,
you a question.
I'll tell you right now, I want to play tough with you, but I also
play
don't.
tough.
I want to be.
Try to be the unclosable deal, because it doesn't work when
the
you're
thing is,
freaking
I don't
the
like,
goat, brother.
Yeah, exactly. I don't like role playing being the person that doesn't really exist. But
let me role play with you, and I'll make it easy. But at the end of the day, man, it's not about role playing. It's about real scenarios. You role play to get practice and comfortable, to where by the time you hear a real objection from a real opportunity, you're comfortable and you're not scared. I mean, salespeople are scared.
Right.
Like, you know, especially when the car salespeople are new. First of all, they already are nervous because supposedly everybody thinks car salesmen are scumbags, which doesn't mean they all are. Some of them are, of course.
Well, some of everything is. There's doctors are scumbags.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, these guys are nervous. They think, oh, I'm kind of embarrassed because I'm a car salesman. And then someone walks out of their car and they say, I'm just looking. And the salesman says, oh, okay. When if you finish the sentence for that person, they're saying, I'm just looking for a car. So just finish the sentence, and all of a sudden it's a positive thing. So like if you were in a jewelry store and I said, I'm just looking, what would most salespeople say?
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, well, let me know if you need anything.
Yeah.
But if I said, I'm looking for a 10-carat diamond,
I know exactly where to take you.
you'd be like, oh, come here. But they get all nervous because I say I'm just looking, which is a defense. And if you finish their sentence, it's I'm just looking to buy your shit. They're not here for a bag of oranges and I got to talk them into a car or a diamond ring.
Right.
Like, you just came to me, prick. Obviously, you're interested in my product. So why would I be so scared of you when you say I'm just looking? It's because I'm untrained, I'm uncomfortable, and you know, I don't have the confidence to get past that. I'm just looking is fantastic.
Okay, so
Because that's crazy. I'm just selling. We're a match already.
So we've got 3 objections we literally practice, and you got great answers for in a matter of 2 minutes probably. Everyone believes that price is the biggest objection. Yeah. So I know, but I want to role play off that one so you can show how it's not. Is that cool?
Yeah, but it depends, because if you're selling an identical product, Sometimes price is the objection.
Right. If you're selling a book on Amazon versus a book on this website, one's $24, one's $12. It's the same book.
And if it is the same damn book, and there is no differentiation
The delivery time's the same.
then you have to add more value to get them to pay your fee
Mm-hmm.
and justify it, or drop your price. Like when people say price isn't the reason, bullshit, dude. Let's quit being cliche.
Right.
Sometimes the price is the problem, so you have to close them, which is provide a solution, and you'll get right past it every time.
So in your case, your product is not the same as everything else out there.
No.
Yours is better.
Yours is like the
better.
Ferrari, though.
You have the Ferrari.
Ferraris don't cost what little shit boxes do either.
Right, right. Okay, so now I want to give you the price objection as one more.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Hey, look, man, 20%'s a lot. I mean, we're talking if I'm able to do $10 million in a year, I don't know if I can give you two. That's a lot of money.
Right. Fully understand that. But let me ask you a question. Would you rather have 100% of 10 or 80% of 30?
I'd rather have 80% of 30, of course.
Okay.
But, I mean, how are you going to get me to 30?
Because I've
versus
been
10?
doing this 20 years. I've helped all the top people do it. I have a network that'll choke a horse, and I will accelerate your ability to get there. I will alleviate all the pain you're going to find on your own, unless you're some expert at this. Are you?
I mean, I'm looking into.
I'm
how
also
we can
going to
grow
get
this.
you more referrals, and I'm going to get you a bigger impact. I'm going to show you how to grow your audience. I'm going to show you how to leverage your material in ways you haven't even thought about, and you probably never will unless you're with me.
How do I know you're not saying that, and then I buy it, and now I ask you for a referral, and I can't get
Do you think Tony Robbins, Grant Cardone, Zig Ziglar, Damon John, Jordan Belfort, Ed Milet, Andy Frisella are all stupid?
How do I know if you're working with a Tony Robbins, you're going to want to do anything with a guy like me when you can spend more time with a guy
because
like
your
those
money
guys?
and Tony's money is the same to me. I'm here to help and make an impact. My goal is to get the right knowledge to the people. Right? I want to live in a world where everybody's successful. In order to do that, my mission is to get the right knowledge from the people who have it to the people who need it. And besides that, let me ask you a question. What if I could show you a way to keep 100% of the money?
Yeah,
Would you use
course.
Lightspeed then?
of course.
Okay, then here's what we'll do. You charge 120%, you keep 100, and I'll take 20.
So I
We'll
raise
let
my
your
price.
customer pay me.
Okay, so
Are you mad that your customer might pay me? They're going to get more value, yes or no?
yeah,
Is a more valuable product that works worth more than a piece of shit product that doesn't?
of course.
Okay, without Lightspeed, your product will be shit.
I mean,
That's a fact too, by the
the
way.
thing that I have.
If you have an info product.
So the thing I'm wondering is like, okay, at what point is it like if I'm doing $50 million, at what point is it to say, man, I'm giving this guy $10 million, am I really getting $10 million worth of service?
But see, you're not giving me 10 million. You're making 40.
Right.
Like, why are you counting my money? I'm not counting yours. Did you create 18 years of technology that costs millions of dollars? If the internet changes their code, or Chrome or Explorer changes their code, and your system doesn't work, do you want to be with a company that doesn't give a rat's ass what you're making, or would you rather be with a company that really wants you to make 500 million?
So what you're telling
Now,
me
why
is
would
a
I
year
want you to
from
make
now-
$500 million if I'm out?
Right.
Go make it on your own, which is, you can have that option now. The question is, do you want to do it with someone that's already the best? Do you want the GOAT, or do you want the frickin' GOAT shit?
Okay. So what you're telling me is in a year from now,
What I'm telling you is,
I'll
you'll
know
make
that
more
there was
with
a
us
difference.
than without us.
So a year
And
from
it's
now,
far
I
more than
would-
20%.
A year from now, I'll know for sure that I made a good decision because I would have never been able to make this money with another company.
Well, here's the thing. I believe that if we can't keep your business, we don't deserve your business. So anytime you want to cancel, then cancel. Fair enough?
Yep.
All right, we got a deal. Let me get the paperwork started, which I don't say, but
Now you've got a podcast and you share a ton of stuff on there. How much of that would you say is like, not necessarily sales training, but like where somebody can really get better at the concept of sales mentality, that kind of stuff, all the things around them that would make them better at business and sales?
I think my podcast, Dropping Bombs, will make them better at anything if they listen and apply what they learn, because it's just a bunch of chit-chat conversations that discuss problems and challenges that people have and how we got past it or how they got past it. It's just experience condensed into a conversation. So if you like experience, then you would like my podcast.
One of the things that you do that I think is great in sales is you make people laugh almost from the beginning throughout.
Do I?
Yeah, and you know you do. So don't act like you just learned that. So you make people laugh throughout. Do you do that intentionally as a way to build trust?
Of course.
Okay, so what do you recommend to the guy that just says, Brad, I'm just not that funny?
You don't have to be funny.
Okay,
you have to be witty.
So I don't know how to come up with a piece for my niece like you do. How do I do it? Because a piece for niece may not work for a guy. I don't know if I'll pull it off like you will. Maybe I need something different.
Yeah, well, that's why Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan, but, Scottie Pippen wasn't bad. He just wasn't Michael. Some people have, humor better, down than someone else. Some people, like, I kind of sound like I'm from Texas, right?
Yeah.
So some people like that, some people don't. I think people with Southern accents automatically sound dumb. So I'm always like, man, I wish I had an English accent, but I don't. So you deal the cards you're dealt, and you do the best you can with them.
Right.
But I think humor is an opinion, because I've talked to people that I thought shit was funny, and they didn't. Some other people did, but they didn't. So mirroring your client, taking on their traits. If you're more serious, I'm more serious. The ability
How
to...
do you train for that? Is that natural?
Well, yeah, you learn how to do it, but you wouldn't even know if you had no clue. You'd just be yourself, and it's a problem. See, here, check this out. There's 4 basic personalities, right?
Right.
Have you heard that?
DISC?
DISC, red, blue, green, yellow.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of tests that everyone agrees. There's 4 basic personality types. If I can show you and train you to identify someone's personality type through a few questions and some observation, and you can adjust your style to match theirs, do you think your closing percentage would go up or down?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Right, so most people are out there closing with one style. They're presenting everything with one style. A pro, a GOAT, if you will, I can change on the dime and match people's personality. We have people come in, they're more analytical. They don't care that they're going to make $1 million a month on Lightspeed. They don't care that I'm funny and I have a following. Matter of fact, that's one of the reasons they're not going to do business with us.
Right.
So all of a sudden I turn and I start talking about analytics, stability, impact, and all of a sudden they're
Things
excited.
that are important to them.
Oh, they're 100% excited. And all of a sudden I'm mirroring their personality style. That's a learned thing.
What's a question you'd ask me in the beginning of our conversation to determine what type of person I am? Like, did you do it to me?
Yeah, like what do you value more?
Okay.
There's things, there's tests. I could have you take a test if I wanted to.
But when you got on the phone with me, did I do something that gave you the clue? Because I'm a high D, high I.
Yeah, I already knew who you were and talked to your sales guy and met you before. And
Yeah.
you're an entrepreneur, so most entrepreneurs are that way.
Okay. So now what did that mean to you? Like, what did you know you had to talk most about when you started your conversation with me? Because you and I talked for about 10, 15 minutes.
I can't recall. It's like an
Is it
audition. If
instinct
I did
now?
an audition for a movie, I wouldn't dwell on it. I'd just keep going. So I don't remember how it worked. And a lot of times, once you get to a certain level, it's second nature. Like you don't even know you're doing it. Like there's competence, and then there's, I forget what they call it, but there's a particular study on this where the progression of skill is like first you're incompetent, then you're competent, then you're unconsciously competent. You know what I mean? It's
Like you don't even realize what you're doing anymore. It's
like ninjas. You could be behind me and you swing and I go boom and I don't even know why I did it. It's because now I'm unconsciously competent.
Right.
So when you ask what did I do, I don't remember. You tell me. It worked, whatever I did.
Yeah, I mean, I know that you didn't. I don't think you talked about analytics at all.
No, because you don't care about that.
No, I do not. So you talked mainly about the money that I'll be making, the people that you've worked with, and the time that it'll save me.
The time that it'll save you,
Yeah,
because you're a busy dude.
those are most important.
And not only that, don't forget legacy, even though you're a young man. Legacy. Like I'm about to go close Warren Buffett on an investment virtual training system. And
You want to make that phone call right now?
if I can, well, I'm trying to get Floyd Mayweather to get me to him.
Really?
but-
How is he tied to him?
Floyd and him are buddies, man.
Really?
Oh yeah. But anyway, I won't go into Warren and talk about money. Like Warren Buffett, he doesn't need any more money.
Right.
And his money when he dies will pay dividends for zillions of years. But are you going to be able to have a conversation after he dies? No. But if I build an interactive course where he pops up and talks to you, like he's right there, I'll preserve him. I'll keep him from dying. So when I go in there, I'm going to say, you know you're going to die, right? Like you probably don't have more than 10 years left. What happens after you die? Don't you want your grandkids to get to know you a little bit, other than watching videos of you or reading about you? Would you like to pop up and talk to them, ask them questions, give them advice based on who they are? Does that make sense?
100%.
Yeah, and
plus
it'll make about $10 billion. Forget that though.
I mean, what I love about that is that, you know, most sales training, they go into the same, it's like generally it's a stock pitch.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, this is what we're going to be talking about. Ask these questions, see if you can get to the pain point, because they're asking the same types of questions. They're getting generally to the same pain points.
Yeah.
But Warren's pain point's way different than mine.
Way
I'm not
different.
thinking about when I'm dying yet. You know, at least not often, not like him. So because of
we
that, you
should,
went right
though.
to it. We should.
Would it be good advice to live like you were dying?
Of course.
Tomorrow?
Of course. We all know
How come
it.
nobody does it then?
It's hard. It's hard to remember that because
It's uncomfortable, isn't it?
I mean, I know I'm going to die.
But the thing is see, what do people do? They seek comfort, right? People want to be comfortable, and they seek it. Why do you want to get rich? So you can be comfortable. It's uncomfortable not paying your bills, right? Mm-hmm. But when you're uncomfortable, that's where the growth happens.
Yeah.
So if you want to grow, you have to seek discomfort, and people don't like that. That's why only a few people do it. So if I can make uncomfortable things comfortable, more people will go there, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you're laying in a wet bed, what do?
Get up.
You get up. It's uncomfortable. I'm getting out of here. If it's comfortable bed, what do?
You want to stay in.
Right. So comfort causes nothing to happen, and uncomfort causes action. What produces results? Action or inaction. But nobody's seeking discomfort. Like nobody wants problems. Problems is how you get rich.
Yeah, you got to solve them.
Yeah, so you should be looking for problems every day, but most people want to avoid them.
Right.
Like find them, embrace them, go after them, get good at solving problems. How do you get good at anything?
Yeah.
How do you get good at anything?
Practice.
That's one way, yeah, but you practice, you repeat them, but yet people aren't looking for problems. If I want to get good at solving them, because that's technically how you get rich, and I want to get rich, why wouldn't I go look for problems and get really good at solving them? Do you think you get better at solving problems the more you solve, or worse?
Better, of course.
So it's all common sense shit. People don't use common sense, man.
You said something that I think half of the audience is going to be like, finally someone's saying it. The other half of the audience is going to say, that's not me. And that's, we do it, we want to get rich. We want to get rich.
Sure.
Now, not saying that you do what you do for the sole reason of getting rich. I know
No, that's definitely a reason, bro.
It's not the sole reason. It's
No.
a reason.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could do some in other things. So what do you think about the people? Because there's a lot of people that were taught to think that that's a very
Bad
egotistical or terrible way to think, that I want to be rich.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that?
I would say they were taught wrong.
They were taught wrong. So how
They're
should
misaligned.
misaligned?
Yeah.
So talk about that. Why? How would you tell them after their parents have been telling them this all year, all their life?
Well, it was an excuse.
Okay.
Right? If I'm not rich, I'm not going to tell my kid to go after it if I'm uncomfortable with it. And I'm obviously uncomfortable with it if I don't have any money. So at the end of the day, they're taught wrong. I believe that money is a tool. I believe that if you don't spend it, it's worthless. I'm one of the only people in the world that tell you to spend it. Like everybody else says, save it.
Right.
Well, what are you saving it for?
Right.
What good is it saved?
What do you
Think
do
about
with the
it.
hammer and the drill?
If I give you $1 million, you're not allowed to spend it. What's it worth?
It's not zero.
It's a souvenir. Look, I got $1 million. Big deal. Like you can't spend it. It's worthless. It's paper.
Right.
The only time money has value is because you can spend it, but people tell you to save it. Why?
Yeah.
Answer it.
Because they're upbringing.
Because they're
told
taught
them.
wrong, and
Yeah.
they're taught wrong to think it's no good. If you have $1 billion, do your loved ones have better health care?
Yeah.
Do you have better health care?
Of course.
Can you make yourself better,
Yep.
easier?
Yes.
Because in order for you to fulfill your potential, you need use of things. Does
Right.
that make sense?
Yep.
You need access to a gym. You need access to a plane. You need to travel, access to health care, better vitamins. All that shit costs money. So if you want to reach your full potential, you're going to need money. Yes or no?
Yep.
So why is possessing it bad? well, you know, it's just so important to you. Yes, reaching my potential is important to me. I realize money you need to do so. And more importantly, I believe that money allows me to help more people and make a bigger impact.
Yeah, if you're making 40, 50 a year, you're not really helping a lot
Dude,
of
if
causes.
you can't help yourself, you can't help others.
Right.
So there's people that get to a point where they can't spend all the money they have. It's invested wisely, and it produces more money than they could ever spend. Well, then start giving it away and helping other people achieve the same thing. That's what I'll do.
Do you want your salespeople to be money motivated?
Like they say, the cup runneth over. Most people go and grab another cup. Like when my cup runneth over, and along the way, I tell everybody to go grab a cup. Like if it's going to run over, let it run over into yours and theirs. And pretty soon everyone's got a full cup.
Right.
Right?
I love that.
But that's why money's not bad. Money allows you to do more things, have better things, get better, live your potential, study from the greatest, go to different cultures, buy presents. And I think the biggest expression of love ever comes from giving, don't you?
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel when you can go buy someone that you like or love, whatever they want? You can solve their problem. You can make their dream come true.
It feels amazing.
Feels amazing. Well, that's because that's the biggest form and expression of actual love there is giving. And with more money, you can do that more. Which, again, some people, they were taught money's not the answer. It is to the answer. Mm-hmm. I've been broke. I know the difference. Trust me, it's better having money. Well, it doesn't make you any different. It usually just amplifies who you are.
I think people that don't have money, like you were saying, it's hard for them to tell their kids that the other way is actually going to be a better way. Whereas,
generationally, they were taught wrong for generations.
Right.
Like, it's not my parents' fault that they were taught wrong. It's like, my fault for staying ignorant.
Right. People, you know, people that are making good money, people that have built wealth, I'm sure they're talking to their kids about the value of having it. The consistency is clear. You know, it's like the only people that are saying this are the people that don't have that. The people that are saying this are the people that do have that. Yeah. So it really just comes down to, like you said, once you really understand it. Because, you know, I remember I was not only broke, I owed 30 grand. Yeah. And I remember at that time, my whole concept of money was very, very different. Then once we started earning, and you could see, like, wow, it's like you can not only pay your employees more, you can invest in more things for the company, like in your program, right? Now my company's going to be better, as I committed to what could be millions of dollars in you. Will be.
Wouldn't have been if you didn't commit to Lightspeed.
You're right.
It might have been then.
Still closing. I love it.
Well, I mean, think about it, bro. I want you to make millions because I get a piece.
Right.
Do you not want me on your side? You want to be out there on an island by yourself with a technology provider that doesn't give a shit if they learn or you make money?
Of course. I want
like,
you
dude,
there.
You'd be an idiot if you did that.
So for everyone that's watching and they're going, all right, what am I going to take away from this? You know, how do I continue to learn from this guy, Brad? Do you have content? Do you have like anything that they could go start watching some more stuff from you so they can pick up more of your habits, get their sales team to start watching it?
Well, if you follow me, I drop a lot of knowledge, and people who I get to hang around with, I drop their knowledge. You listen to my podcast. And here shortly, I'll have all of my sales and closing content ready, and it'll be available. And it'll be the best shit on the planet.
Okay.
Like, I'll teach you how to be confident. Some guys don't know how to be confident, and girls for that matter.
Why do you think that is?
Because they're full of shit and they know it. Like, they know they're full of shit, and they know and sometimes, here's the crazy part. They don't know it, but they know it. Meaning, like, you believe in subconscious minds?
Of course.
Okay,
yeah.
So subconsciously, you've said, I'm going to start a diet on Monday, and you didn't.
Right.
Or I got away with cheating on this girl because nobody knows. Well, you know.
Right.
And I think inherently you know the difference between right and wrong. And I know that, and everybody does. I think you're born with it. So when you spend, your childhood, you've, did evil shit to your brothers and sisters or your friends, and you got away with this, and you
Right.
did that, and you feel bad, and there's a little guilt. And I think over time your subconscious fills up with, you're a piece of shit, whether you believe it or not. and then you start to be insecure because, you know, it's crazy, but it's all in the psychology of it all. But I believe a lot of people are lacking confidence because deep down, whether they know it or not, they haven't been good people in a lot of areas, and they don't know how to fix it. And first thing you do is you acknowledge it, and then you forgive yourself and like get rid of it, and that's hard for people to do. And then you start doing what you say. You're confident because you believe in what you do. You're doing the right thing. You have ethics. Doesn't matter if you're going to lose money or make money. You're trying to help people. You don't cheat on your spouse or your significant other. You honor your deals. And then all of a sudden you start walking around, and when people make fun of you or you they try to make you feel bad, you already know yourself. You love yourself. If you don't love yourself, you're going to lack confidence. And it's not be egotistical either. It's like know who you are.
Right.
So to build confidence, you have to know who you are, you have to know what you stand for, and you have to forgive the past, because even if you're not consciously aware of that stuff, it's there. And I think it causes insecurity, and you know, your conscious with insecurity starts having issues. So ultimately, you forgive yourself, and then you start honoring your word, not to others, more importantly to yourself. If you say I'm going to get up at 6 a.m. on Monday, how many times have you like rationalized why that's not going to happen? So you got to be careful, because you can not, this process won't work unless you really get rid of it, forgive yourself, and then that day moving forward, be very careful what you tell yourself. Like, do not ever lie to yourself.
Right.
And then pretty soon, it takes time, repetition. It's just like anything, man. It's training. All of a sudden, people will just start, you know, noticing, like you're standing up straighter, and man, you're more confident when you say that. And it's just like there's a difference about you. And I think that's because you believe you, and then you're more confident.
Right.
So I'll teach how to be confident. I'll teach how to closing techniques, like the solution. Most people are bullshitting you. Like I got to get my wife is 9 times out of 10 a lie.
Right.
And people don't even realize that.
It's a way to not reject you. It's a way to not say no, or it's just it's a cover up for right now, so I don't have to say the hard things.
It's to get rid of you. And you know, let's say I came in here and I'm like, hey, what's going on? And I find out your program's $25,000, and I have bad credit and no money.
Right.
Now you think I'm going to stand here and look around and say, well, I've got bad credit and no money? No. So what do? Well, all right, let me talk to my business partner. Yeah. You know, maybe, and I'm going to get out of here because I have no money and no credit.
Right.
And you think I have to talk to my business partner, and you try everything.
And you're following up for weeks.
But I will tell you no, because you can't solve that because it's not real. Mm-hmm. But if you found the real objection, Brad, do you realize that we've got payment plans and no credit checks? All of a sudden, I don't have to talk to my buddy anymore. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do this.
Right.
Let's get started. And all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, I closed him. Well, that's because you solved the real problem. You found it and solved it.
Right, you weren't playing with the fake thing.
Right, so those are closing techniques. And then obviously sales and asking for referrals and the road to the sale, which is things you should do with every customer. How do you follow up? How do you build a relationship? I believe relationships, the new economy. So, you know, a lot of people just want that dollar. They want that sale. I'd rather be your go-to person for the next 100 years and all your friends because you trust me and we have a relationship. Some people just want that sale and then up later.
That's it.
It's stupid. So I think the old days of selling is changing. You know, we're more connected than ever before. I can press a button and have 100,000 people see me, or 250,000 people if I went on all platforms.
Right.
You know, a guy like Grant has 6-7 million, Tony Robbins, millions and millions. You can't treat people like shit anymore. You have to start actually having some integrity and building a relationship. If you're selling a product you can't believe in, stop selling the product.
Right.
And if you can't believe in it, either learn to believe in it or stop selling it.
Now you're a smart guy. You've made a lot of money. You've worked with a lot of really influential people. You've helped a lot of really influential people. So all this happened because you've learned how to do things really well.
Yeah, the hard way.
Right. Who would you say has helped you learn the most? Who's a person that you can say, that person either inspired me to do this more, or I learned things that I use still today because of that person or that group of people? What's the thing that helped Bradley become more Bradley than anything else?
The number one mentor has been failure. So again, people don't want to fail, right? It's the best teacher there is. But unfortunately, I wasn't smart enough to seek out all this wonderful information, nor was it available like it is today. There wasn't the internet.
Right.
So like when I grew up, you had to just learn the hard way. Well, you didn't have to, but you mostly did. So I would say failure, but other than that, I mean, there's just so many. I learned stuff from Tony Robbins, I've learned stuff from Grant, I've learned stuff from Ed, I've learned stuff from Andy, I've learned a few things from you, I've learned some things from her. I mean, my kids teach me things, bums on the street teach me things. I think anyone who doesn't understand that whoever you meet knows something you don't is naive. So it's hard to say who's the number one because I learn every day from a lot of people.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, it's hard.
So last thing here, I want to know.
So he's wrapping up. That means he's done here. Information's getting stale.
No, the information's
That's
good.
his technique.
It's at the point now where I'm doing the math in my head. I'm like, I think I've taken up a lot of his time. Where are we at? This is a good one. 120. You are a record setter. That's how good your content is.
How long does it seemed like?
Like 6 minutes.
10 minutes?
6
there
minutes.
You go. That's better.
Okay, so I got to ask this. If you could have dinner with anyone in the world,
Yeah.
dead or alive, who would it be and why?
It's a good one. Probably.
And you could ask any question you want and they'd have to be honest. They'd have to tell you the truth, even if they've never told it to anybody else.
Oh, I don't know. Probably a genie.
Well, not fictitious. So not fiction.
You said anyone.
Dead or alive, but like real, like a person that really exists.
A real
genie,
person?
of course. Yes, that's a great idea because then you
Dead
do
or
it 3
alive?
people.
I would probably want to have dinner with, I don't know his name, but they call it the Dutchman. And I'd ask him where the his gold is. Because there's apparently some shitloads of gold somewhere hidden.
Really?
And no one can find it. So I'd find whoever that was and ask him where it is.
Because then you could ask him anything. He's going to tell you anything. You got.
I'd go find the gold. I mean, it'd be someone that would provide me value, so I could go get more money. See, again, people always go, "I thought you wanted to help people," dude. A lot of times, trust me when I tell you, money helps more than anything else. If you're getting kicked out of your house and you come to me, you want some advice or you want 15 grand to save your house?
15 grand. Dropping bombs.
Dropping bombs.
That's the podcast for everyone to start listening to hear Brad. Brad, where else can people find you if they wanted to? Like, is there a site that you want me to direct people to so they can go check you out? Because I know after this, there's a lot of people that want to learn more.
Well, if you want to train people better, go to lightspeedvt.com or call him or call me.
If you call me, it'll cost you the same. But
I have bradlee.com, and that's LEA, bradlee.com, lightspeedvt.com. Out of all the social media, I'm on all of them. I prefer Instagram, though. Like, I'll talk to people on Instagram.
Yep.
Facebook, people are like, are you ever going to respond? I don't even get on that thing half the time.
Yeah, it's different.
So Instagram, and it's at the real Brad Lee.
You got it. And then if any of you ever get a chance to see Brad speak, he's really, really great on stage. He gets the crowd going. And I'm actually going to see you. You're speaking tomorrow.
Yeah.
So actually, all of us are going to be there, waiting to see you tomorrow. We got to see a cool one-on-one here. Well, unfortunately, you got like 1-on-7 to hang out with you here today. But it's exciting. We're looking forward to that talk, and you guys got to see us talk too. Other than that, man, thank you so much for being on the show.
Bro.
I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
For all you watching and all you listening, we just spent an hour and a half with a GOAT. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for joining us today. If you like this episode, subscribe to our YouTube channel or find our podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, or wherever your favorite place to listen to podcasts might be. And if you really like this episode, please leave a review for us on iTunes. Thanks, and we'll see you next week.